Welcome back to Hilaal Live. Now, we're going to be taking things a little bit lighter this time. And now, over the coming weekend, Zuhair Dawood and many of his colleagues of comedians are going to be having a roadshow within the Johannesburg region. And we've decided to bring him on today just to give us an idea of course, some of the shows that he will be having. And, of course, just an idea of who Zuhair Dawood is. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Zuhair, and Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum salam, Faraz. Jazakallah for having me. Jazakallah to your team for having me on this evening.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Right, Zuhair, I want to talk about you starting off as a comedian. So we saw a lot of, obviously, the Instagram videos of you dressed in a burqa, talking like one auntie. Was that the origins of you beginning into comedy, or was that something before that?
Listen, so what had happened is, it's actually a funny story, right? So I when I was young, I used to sit around and I used to hear these aunties talk and, you know, their conversations, and it used to mind boggle me, and I used to think, like, people can actually be like this. So one day I just took my mom's phone and I was like, let me make a video of myself and see what this looks like. And I looked at it and I was like, you know, that's quite funny. And I think other people also relate to this. So I just posted it up, and here we are today. You are interviewing me. So obviously it worked, you know. And what had happened after that was that this video, I got traction, and I continued doing it to make people laugh, and it just it took me to the stage, and then I had to bring out, well, myself, Zuhair Dawood, not the character you see on social media. And I had started writing material, and I took it to the stage, and yeah, it worked. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Now, when we see those videos, and there's one thing unique, especially about the aunties from Durban, is that they like their, as they would call it, panchat. And in these videos, yes, so much of that panchat happens. And that's unique to the South African Indian community, isn't it? Is that because of course, the apartheid acts of the Land Act, which had many of the Indian communities living very close to each other, and that formed a tight-knit community. And that resonates right now in the modern day parts of Durban, of course, where that closeness and that togetherness still remains. Zuhair, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, man. Okay. I think it cut off there.
No problem. I was just saying that a lot of your material, you know, we know about the aunties, especially the Indian community in Durban. They love their panchat. And this, of course, was brought on by the Apartheid Land Act, which had these communities close to each other, which you could actually speak to your neighbor across. And there's something unique about many of the people in Durban, that they just love screaming at each other. But it's a unique conversation and a warm conversation that is done.
Yes, that's true. Listen, that was the whole origin of this idea of me doing these things. You know, it started from there. I'm not saying my family spoke bad about any other family, but when I used to hear my granny on the phone, I was like, yeah, okay, maybe I should make a video about this and change the names, because, you know, otherwise we could get in trouble. And it just seemed as if a lot of other people related to it, you know. And now we've got technologically advanced, man. On social media platform, we have groups, which the purpose of the group is to actually make panchat. And I didn't know about this, man. I got invited to one of the groups, and a group actually from Joburg. I'm not going to tell you which group it is, but I was on this group. It's a panchat group. They had invited me there. I never request to get invited, just by the way. And I'm seeing these aunties talking about an auntie that stays across the road, and what they had forgot was that this auntie is also on the group. So that was quite funny. That was quite hilarious. And I was just watching from the side, and it was quite fun in the comment section.
Yeah, I mean, you never know who's actually in there. So as they say, watch what you say. Zuhair, social media, because I mean, the traditional way of doing comedy would of course be you hire out a town hall. If you live in, you know, the areas of, I'm going to give Durban as one of them, like your Chatsworth or your Phoenix here in Gauteng, you'd have Lenasia, Lodium, and so on. You'd have these halls that would be packed, and of course you'd have the comedy show. Now social media has taken things to a whole new level. Of course you've utilized it quite well. How much has social media changed in the industry of comedy?
that's look. let me explain to you. So I'm 21, right? Well, I'm 22 now. Sorry about that. And when I speak to comedians that were doing comedy from the 90s, they'll tell you how hard it was to sell out a show, how hard it was to promote a show back then. Because I mean, then you're using pamphlets. It was just by chance that people came across it, and and today's times with the algorithms of social media and the fact that you can reach places like Joburg, and people in Joburg can tell their family in Durban that we having a show. It's magic. So yeah, it does make our life a lot more easier. It reduces the cost in advertising, so more money for us, and yeah, it makes it a lot easier. We can look at different ways of promoting the show and getting people to the show,
Okay, Zuhair, let's talk about your upcoming shows here in Johannesburg. Who are some of the comedians that will be joining you for your roadshow, which now heads into the City of Gold?
Yeah, so basically, myself and Mo Vauda, who's my friend from Durban, we've been touring, and we wanna actually finish South Africa by the end of this year. So we started in KZN, we did about 6 shows, we sold out all of them, alhamdulillah, and now we're coming to Joburg, and we're going to be in Joburg tomorrow night, and you guys can see that on my social media. There's tickets still available, so just jump into my social media and you can find out about that. The acts that we've got, listen, Faraz, I'm going to tell you something, right? As a youngster coming into comedy, it was quite hard, right? You've got to work your way to the top. If you don't have the contacts and you don't have the, what's the word I'm looking for? The skill, you're not going to make it. But alhamdulillah, I had a lot of guys that guided me. And I also want to give youngsters who are coming up the opportunity to come on stage. So we've got a youngster by the name of Zuhair Valley, who's... he's really big on social media, TikTok especially, and he recently started comedy this year. He did his one-man show, and now he's coming to the big stage. Next in line, we've got Mo Latif, who's from a town called Zeerust, I think so. I have no idea where that is, but he's from a town called Zeerust. I think his labor is Leon's sister, because everybody in that town speaks Afrikaans, supposedly. And he's also going to join us on stage, but he's been a comedian for a while. He's also 22 years old. And he's doing really well. Other than that, it's myself. It's my friend Mo Vauda, who's one of the best comedians in South Africa currently. I think he's done almost every town in South Africa. And we've also got some surprise acts. I've got some friends who are from Durban but are now staying in Joburg, and they're going to be joining us on stage also. So we've got a multicultural comedy show that's happening in Joburg, and everybody is going to laugh. Right? I know it's cold, but listen, when we come on stage, we're going to warm it up. I promise you.
All right, lovely. I mean, that's what we want to hear. Taking the temperature up. You spoke about multiculturalism, Zuhair, and I think that's important. Yeah. How beautiful is it living in South Africa? Because you've got all these different cultures. You've got, for example, us, the Indians, right? And then you've got, our white compatriots. We've got our black compatriots. We've got our colored compatriots. And within there, you've got certain people from different areas where you can draw this material from comedy. That's unique, isn't it? Because it gives you so much to tell your audience.
No, 100%. I completely agree with you. Now, here's the thing, right? Every comedian bases their act on life experiences, right? So, for example, in my own set, I talk about when we were touring, we went to certain towns and we met certain individuals, and there was something that stood out about it. And I'm not going to tell you so much because, again, you have to buy tickets and come to the show. But that's what makes the set exciting. That's what makes the set fun. And that's what people want to hear. They want to hear your experiences. And that's a comedian's job, right? We get leeway to talk about certain things, but people want to hear your experience and what really happened, but we twist it up, we make it funny. But yeah, it's awesome. Also, when we do these big shows in the ICC and like these 6,000, 7,000 seater shows, it's not just Indians, it's not just this, it's not just that, it's everybody. And you've got to come with fire because, everybody's got to get it, right? It's got to relate to everybody. And when you can do that and you can mix with everybody and you can have a heart-to-heart with everybody and they get what you're saying and they laugh, it's the best feeling on earth. And that's the reason why we comedians do what we do, because we want to make people laugh, We live in South Africa, so we're already going through enough suffering. Yeah. So our job is to come to you and say, hey, listen, we're going to make you laugh and we're going to make you forget about all your problems for maybe 2-3 hours. And then we're going to go back to reality after that.
Zuhair, COVID obviously had a big effect on the events companies here in South Africa. And of course, you being 22 years old, you were just, starting to get a hang of the industry itself and starting to go to these shows. How relieved are you that finally everything is back to normal?
Hey, listen, it was it was the best thing ever because look, what had happened during COVID was we were doing online shows. So basically, we were selling you tickets as per house, So you were sitting in your living room and you were watching the show. The problem is that comedians, we need to feel you, man. We need to feel the audience, and we want to be there. We want to read you, and we want to hear your claps, and we want to hear your laughs, and we want to hear your reactions. Now, when we were doing it online, it wasn't fun, man. We weren't giving it our all, But now that COVID's gone, and things are better, it's the best thing ever. We started our KZN tour originally after COVID, straight after COVID, and people were just, it was the best thing ever, man. People were coming back, and they were excited, They were excited. They were having lots of fun. They were laughing, and that's what we missed, That's what we missed as a country.
All right, Zuhair, I've just got 1 minute. I need you to tell me or give the viewers just a little bit of an appetizer, a teaser ahead of tomorrow night. One halal joke, please.
Are you asking me for a joke?
Yeah, just one halal joke. One halal joke. That's it.
Okay, it's a one-liner.
One-liner.
Right?
Let's pull it. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's called our currency. That's what it's called. That's a joke for you. Right, because bro, I don't even have to explain the joke. Everybody gets it. Everybody gets the joke. No, but listen, man. I got no appetizer for you. I'm fasting today, so I can't give you an appetizer. but no, serious. You guys will enjoy the show. I promise you. Jump onto my social media. We're gonna be in Joburg tomorrow, and there is tickets still available. So yeah, it'll be really awesome, man. We're gonna sit back. We're gonna have a laugh with majority Durban comedians, which I know Joburg people love Durban comedians. So yeah.
Zuhair, we like to say jazakallah to you so much and all the best in your career. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless you and enhance the talents that you have, inshallah. Ameen.
Ameen. Jazakallah for us. Thank you to you and your team for having me on this beautiful show. It was fun. It was awesome. I'm glad you never asked me harder questions, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We're going easy on you for today. Zuhair, all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
That's Zuhair Dawood, a comedian, of course. He's taking his roadshow to Johannesburg. Do check out his social medias for more information on some of his shows. After the break, I'll have the latest in news. Do stay tuned.